The moment I found our support dog gone and my daughter sobbing on the porch, I saw red. Cheryl didn't just cross a line, she bulldozed it. What she didn't know was that I don't lose legal battles, especially not when it comes to my kid. 3 weeks later, a federal investigator knocked on her door. And trust me, that wasn't a courtesy call. No, this isn't a movie. This is what happens when a fake HOA, led by someone with a God complex, plays militia in the wrong neighborhood. Freeze frame. Yep, that's me. The woman whose private well Cheryl tapped into to illegally water her garden. What did I do? I flushed her system with gray water. And oh buddy, that was just the beginning. Let me rewind. This didn't start with sewage sabotage. It started with a girl, a dog, and a community president with too much time and way too much hairspray. My daughter Ember is 11. Sweet, shy, brilliant. She also has PTSD. When she was 9, we were in a car crash that left her with deep trauma, both physical and emotional. She came out of it alive, thank God, but not unchanged. Sirens make her shake. Crowds cause her to panic. Holidays at Walmart? Forget it. Enter Maple. Maple is a golden retriever and frankly, one of the best souls I've ever met. She was trained for a full year as a psychiatric service animal. I watched Ember laugh for the first time in 6 months the day Maple climbed into her lap and licked her tears away. That dog isn't just a pet. She's my daughter's lifeline. Without her, Ember shuts down. With her, Ember goes to school, handles noises, makes friends' lives. So when we moved into this quiet, leafy neighborhood full of big porches and bored retirees, I thought we were getting a fresh start. A place for Ember to heal. What I didn't count on was Cheryl. Her actual name is Cheryl Grant, but nobody calls her that. She's every HOA horror story rolled into one, a 60-something tyrant with French-tipped claws and a clipboard that never leaves her side. She declared herself president of the HOA. Unofficially, of course. Her version was self-declared and run out of her living room, which she called the executive suite. At first, we kept a low profile. Ember and I kept to ourselves. Maple stayed leashed, wore her vest, napped under Ember's desk during remote learning. But peace in Cheryl land never lasts. One Saturday morning, Cheryl marched up the driveway and looked Maple up and down like the dog was hiding a weapon. "Excuse me," she said, sunglasses tilted down. "I don't believe that dog is within weight regulation. No pets over 25 pounds per the HOA code." I blinked. She's a psychiatric service animal. Fully certified. The weight limit doesn't apply. Cheryl pursed her lips. Exceptions create chaos. Surely you understand. Surely I did not. But I smiled. Happy to provide documentation. Which I did. ADA protections. Medical letters. Training certificates. I laminated them because, well, I knew exactly who I was dealing with. 3 days later, I came home to find Ember on the porch. Pale. Shaking. Alone. "Where's Maple?" She pointed to the backyard. The gate was open. The crate was empty. Maple's toys were scattered like a crime scene. I called her name. Nothing. I called neighbors. No one had seen her. Then I checked my inbox. From HOA president_unner at AOL.com subject, Community Standards Enforcement Notification. Per our recent observations and in alignment with HOA regulations, the unauthorized animal has been removed pending compliance review. I froze. Cheryl had called animal control. Reported Maple as a large, aggressive stray. Signed the pickup form as an anonymous neighbor. Maple matched the description. They took her straight to the pound. No chip scan. No call. It took me 4 hours, 2 calls, and a detailed letter to get her out. When we brought her home, Ember clung to her for hours. That night, I barely slept. The next morning, bright yellow violation slip taped to the door. "Karen, sorry," Cheryl had escalated. Then I noticed our irrigation was off. Well pressure was low. I checked the pump. Followed the lines. One ran under the fence. Right into Cheryl's backyard. She was stealing our water. That night, I didn't sleep. I lay beside Ember, holding Maple's paw, listening to her breathe. And stewing. This wasn't about rules. This was cruelty wrapped in bureaucracy. So I went to the county office. Cheryl's HOA? Technically voluntary. No enforcement rights unless 75% of residents voted for it. They never did. Her board? Just 3 of her friends. Her bylaws, a template altered with a pen. Her term as president? Expired 2 years ago. She had no legal authority. So I started collecting evidence. Emails, flyers, threats, fake fines. Then came the gray water. I rerouted her stolen line through a barrel. Not sewage, but it smelled like compost and bad decisions. 2 days later she showed up red-faced waving a cup of brown water. "What did you do to my irrigation line?" I smiled. "Sounds like an illegal tap. You should report that." She stomped off. Next, she held a secret HOA meeting. Claimed I was endangering community cohesion. Tried to rally support to force me into arbitration. Claimed I forged Maple's documents. That was the final straw. I called HUD. Discrimination against service animals violates the Fair Housing Act. I sent them everything: the complaint, Ember's video, screenshots, threats. Then I got the neighborhood involved. Turns out Cheryl had fined a couple for sunflowers. Threatened another over a wheelchair ramp. People were fed up. One of her board members gave me the smoking gun. The HOA was never ratified. The chili cook-off wasn't a vote. There were no minutes. No records. I compiled everything. A binder labeled Cheryl's greatest hits. Then I got HUD's email. They were sending an investigator. The day the federal agent showed up, I wasn't the one who told them where Cheryl lived. One of her own board members did. She didn't see it coming. The real HOA meeting happened a week later. Community center. Packed room. Cheryl showed up in a silk scarf. Gave a speech about unity. I handed the mic to Deanna, a disability rights attorney. Deanna listed Cheryl's violations. Service animal discrimination. Fraud. Harassment. Trespassing. Illegal enforcement of fake bylaws. Then I played a recording, Cheryl saying you can train any mutt and slap a vest on it. Doesn't make it a necessity. The vote to remove her? 84% in favor. The rest abstained. No one voted to keep her. Not even her best friend. HUD concluded their investigation. Issued a notice of violation. Cheryl had to pay a fine, attend ADA training, and write Ember a formal apology. The letter said, "I regret my actions and acknowledge the hardship they caused." Ember underlined that line. She can't do it again, right? No, sweetheart. She can't. Cheryl sold her house quietly. No goodbye. Just a moving truck and dead hydrangeas. The neighborhood changed. The new HOA board included an accessibility subcommittee. I joined. Our first policy: protect service animals and their handlers. Our second: require civics training for any future president. Cheryl became a cautionary tale. The real victory? Ember changed. She smiled more. She took Maple on walks. She said she wanted to write a story about Maple being a hero. I cried. Karen, I mean, Cheryl built her little kingdom on fear. But when you push back, when you shine a light on the nonsense, the whole thing collapses. And if she ever comes back, let's just say I kept the binder.